All right. Hey, how you doing? Glad you could make it out today. How's your day going? Oh, nice. Wrapping gifts is always good. Apparently my shout out thing doesn't want to work. There we go. Centered a little better there. I'm trying to get it to work. I'm not sure what is up with my stream elements. Let's see if I can't figure it out here. I don't know why it's not working. This technology stuff. These newfangled computers, I don't know if they'll ever catch on. Let's see, are my other commands working? Sort of working. I don't know why the shout out isn't working. Yeah, it seems like every other command on here except for shoutouts are working. Is it working now? That's so weird. I don't know why it's not working. I tried turning it off and on again. And it's always worked before. I don't know why. It just decided it doesn't want to work today. Yeah, it's like literally every other command on here is working just fine. Hmm. It's just so weird and random. Like, this has always worked before without a problem. But for some reason, right now, it just randomly decided not to work. That's so weird. Huh. Okay. Yeah, literally everything else is working. Okay, so let's just move on, I guess. I'll just say people's names or something. I don't know. I mean, I kind of was planning on shouting people out. I don't know why it's not working. That's so annoying. Holy crap. Yes. I guess that's what I'm going to have to do. Like, I'm looking at all my settings and everything looks fine. Maybe if we try this. I tried changing the wording on the command. Maybe that'll help. There we go, that worked. I don't know why. It just didn't like that command for some reason today. But as soon as I changed the name of it, it worked fine. That's so weird. I hope more people show up. And I did start that giveaway. If you do !enter, you should be able to get an entry into it. And then I think if you put !ticket and the number, you can use your points to buy more entries up to 10. So !enter, and that should get you in. There you go. Let's check here. Yep, it shows that you're in here, so everything's working good. That's good. I wasn't sure how it was going to work. Let's see. There was supposed to be supposed to have an overlay going here that tells all about this giveaway here. But apparently my overlays don't want to work. Oh well. Like I created my layout here. I don't know. I just do not know about all this technology stuff. Oh, I thank you, thank you. I had a pretty cool setup going on Stream Elements. I am not sure. I don't know. All of this stuff just confuses the heck out of me. Yeah, like I said, there's supposed to be like a little overlay thing over here on the left side of the screen here, but it doesn't seem like it wants to cooperate. This is my first time using OBS, so I don't really have it all figured out yet. Do. I wonder. I don't know. Why isn't it working? See, I was kind of hoping that, like, if I made my overlay and Stream Elements like it shows me, it would just show up like magic. Let's look it up real quick here. I'm going to give it a minute to see if we get anybody else coming in before starting the chainmail stuff. Hopefully we get some more people. In the meantime, I'm going to look this up here. So how's your day going so far? Hopefully smoother than this stream is going. Thank you for that hydrate. I just like woke up super tired, so I've got some iced coffee going in my cup right now. Oh no, that's no good. I haven't really been getting out much lately, but whenever I do, my allergies start acting up. I never used to have allergies like until like 7 or 8 years ago. And just all of a sudden, it hit with a vengeance. Trying to get this figured out. I think I did it. Let's see. There it is. Oh, thank you for those bits. How's your day going? Good, good. Just figuring some stuff out here. I think we've got it. All right. We're going to be getting some chainmail stuff started here in just a little bit. I'm just trying to give people a chance to show up here. While I do some last minute editing, trying to fix some of the stuff. This is my first time using OBS on a stream. So it's a little bit rough. I can only hope that it will get better as I get more familiar with it. There we go. Oh, nice. Yeah, I'm using Stream Elements and OBS for my setup here. I mean, it's a little rudimentary right now. Like I said, this is my first time using it, so things are a little bit rough. Hopefully, they will get better. Oh no, that's no good. Why can't you use it? Alright, I'm following chat on my phone, which I had in my lap. Now I've got it up on my desk, so it's a little easier to see now. I don't have to keep looking down all the time. That's too bad. Okay, so we're going to give it just, we'll say, 2 more minutes. And then we'll go ahead and get started. Don't be too judgmental of my janky setup I've got going here. This is my first time trying to do a crafting video thing. I've like got a webcam strapped to my microphone, and it kind of works. Hopefully it works well enough. We'll see how it goes. Well, you haven't seen it yet. Like, I bought a cheap $20 webcam. It matches my $10 capture card perfectly. Which, that's another thing I need to get set up, is my capture card. And that'll open up some more opportunities for new games. Okay, well, I guess we will go ahead and get started. Oh, and if you haven't already, we do have a giveaway going on today. You can press !enter to get your free entry. And then you can buy additional entries using your in-stream points there by typing !ticket space and then the number of tickets you want to buy, up to 10. And I think I have them set to 20 gil each. So, yeah. We'll be giving away the bracelet that I make later on in the stream here. So definitely want to get that going. That would be fun. Oh, you can only do up to 10 tickets. Is it not working, or? There you go. And, I mean, you'll be earning more points throughout the stream, so you can always get more later. I'm probably going to be doing the drawing at the end. So you still got plenty of time. But if you want your free entry there, I know Crocodilia, you've already entered to get your free one. But if you want to get your free ticket, just type in !enter, and that'll get you in the drawing to win this awesome chainmail bracelets. Alright, well, we are going to go ahead and get started. Okay. Okay, so we've got we're doing two things here today. First thing we're going to be doing is just the basic chainmail weave. It's called a European 4-in-1, and this is what, like in all the movies and stuff, this is 99% of what was used to make armor back in the day. So we're going to start by closing 4 rings. I'm not used to doing this on camera, so if I ever am out of the frame, just let me know and I will adjust myself. Okay, so we've got our 4 closed rings. Look a little something like that. We're going to take one open ring. Here it is. And we're going to put these 4 in it. And then we are going to close it up. If you haven't guessed, this is called 4-in-1 because for every one ring, there's going to be 4 other rings that interlock with it. So we have something that looks a little like that. So then what we're going to do is take another open ring and we are going to loop it through these top 2 here. And close it off. Okay, so now it looks like this. So here's our ring we just added here. Here's what we already had going. And to make our patch wider, we'll just add one here. Take an open ring. We're going to loop it through these two on the side. And we're just going to close that ring off. Is the video working again, or is it still buffering? Pause a second here, try to get this figured out. Is it working for you? Is it buffering? Or there you go. Was it buffering, or what was the issue? Okay. Yeah, there's been like a buffering issue going on today. Yeah, mine shows I've got good signal strength and everything here. But I know when I was on somebody else's stream earlier today, we were having that same issue. And somebody said like it's something that's going on like all over the place, and it's not everybody's that does it. So there's some kind of internet thing going on with Twitch right now, I guess. And that's causing things to not run smoothly, I guess, for some people trying to watch. So if it does, it should come up again by itself. If not, you can always try refreshing or closing the window and coming back in. But for the most part, it seems like once you let it buffer for a minute or so, it pops back in by itself. Yeah, and I mean, that might be what it is, because I know when I was having that trouble, I was on my phone. So maybe it's like affecting people that are using mobile to watch. And that's why it's working fine for some people and it keeps freezing up for others. But I don't know. Like I said, I heard that it's just a thing that's going on today. It's not just you, it's everybody apparently. But okay, so this was our original ring that went through, or this one was our original ring that went through the 4 other rings. And then we added this guy on, and then you probably didn't see this. We added this one on to make our patch a little wider. So we just took an open ring, looped it through our 2, and laid it down flat. Looks a little something like that. Then, so this one, as you can see here, only has 3 rings in it. This one, and this one. So, since this is 4 in 1, like I said, each ring is going to have 4 other rings that interlock with it. So we're going to add this 4th one in here. Close it off. When you're first starting out a piece, it never wants to lay flat for you. So before you get frustrated with it and decide to start all over, just try to manipulate it around a bit and get it to lay flat. So now this column here looks like this one after we completed that, the 4 for this ring. So we can either make our patch longer by adding one here, and we'll just close that off there. Okay, so now we made it longer by adding another column here, or we can make it taller by adding to an existing column. So we're going to take an open ring and we're just going to loop it through these two here, and we're going to close it off. See, it wants to lay kind of like this. Well, you got to kind of manipulate it around a bit, and you kind of get the hang of it after a while. There. So this is that ring that we just added here. And let's go ahead and even things out by adding one here. Like I said before, it's a 4-in-1, so each ring needs to have 4 other rings to interlock with it. So right now we've got 1, 2, 3 here. So to match this up, we're going to add another one on this side. And then we're going to add another one on this side. It makes things a lot easier if you do things one level at a time and you complete that layer before moving on to something else. Okay, so these are those two we just added here, and see how that completes that layer here. If you don't do it and just like say we'll add a ring here, if I can get it to lay flat. And we'll add another random ring. We'll take the open ring, make this taller by adding to this row. So we loop these two like this here. See how you can already see how it's going to lay. And then we'll just close it off. Okay, so now we have something that looks a little like that. See how it's like uneven like that? Now if I were to put this away for today and come back to it tomorrow, I wouldn't necessarily remember, oh yeah, I left that uneven like that. I'll just keep going. And that's an easy way to make mistakes. So it's always better just to, when you start a row, just going one at a time and finish it off before moving on to the next one. There, that's starting to look a little bit better. And just to keep things symmetrical, since we added this one over here, let's go ahead and add this one right here, just to keep things even. And sometimes they don't want to line up just right. There we go. So now it's looking all nice, even. But with those two, we did start new columns. So we're going to add columns to these rows here. Or we're going to add rows to these columns here, rather. By looping this one through these two. So that will complete this top one in the row here by being its fourth one in. And we're just going to close it off there. And we're going to take this, add this one down here. And we're closing it off. Now this that I'm working with here, I don't really have any copyright-free music. Yeah, otherwise I'd love to, but it seems like they're really kind of cracking down on stuff like that, and I mean, I see people just playing whatever music they want, and nobody seems to care much, but I don't want to be the one that they crack down on and end up getting suspended or something. And we're just gonna loop this one through these two and close it off. Now we're gonna come over to the other side. The other side actually looks pretty good. Something's missing. Okay, I see what it is. See, already, you know, we had that uneven row, and I was looking at it, something looked off. That's because I never added my one to this column, and if I had just kept going, then it would have been easy for me to miss a ring or, you know, make some kind of mistake, which especially once this starts getting bigger, trying to fix mistakes is a pain. You've got to basically like go back through and take things apart row by row until you get back to the spot you had messed up on, which can be very time consuming and very frustrating. I mean, as you can see, this isn't exactly a quick and easy art. It takes a long time, so if you have to go back and undo your work, it gets very frustrating very fast. Oops. And Ingle Doom, how you doing? I am glad you can make it, sir. Ingle Doom and the CR Game Room community are a big part of why I'm at where I am now, so I'm so glad that you could make it. Thank you, thank you. I wouldn't have been here without you and the other guys from CR Game Room, so I am so glad that you could make it here. And we are doing a giveaway. Right now I'm showing just the basic European foreign one. Chainmail, this is what like all the armor you see in movies and stuff, and historically this is like 99% of what the armor that they would have used would be made up of. But then here in a little bit we're going to be switching to these other rings you see I've got prepared over here, and we're going to be making a bracelet, which we will be giving away at the end of the stream. Okay, so we're looking pretty good width-wise for now. I don't want to get too crazy in this. So we're going to start a new row up top here by linking this ring here through our 1 right here in the corner. To get things going, we're going to loop it through that 1, close it off. Now, as I was saying before, this is a European foreign one, which means that each ring is going to have 4 other rings that interlock with it. So right now, this ring that we just added to here has 3 rings, 1, 2, 3. So to finish that one off, we're going to take an open ring here, and we're going to loop it through this one and this one, which you can see is going to add to this row here in the middle, and it will complete the row, or complete that ring rather. And this is my first time doing this on camera, so bear with me, and if I do take it out of the camera range, let me know and I will adjust myself. So you see now that ring has 4 other rings in it, so we're all done with that ring. So we're going to move on by adding to the next row over. So we just added to this one here, and we're going to be doing the same thing with the next row. And we'll close it off. Like I said, this is like 99% of what would have been used historically. Chainmail's been around for forever, pretty much. We start seeing the earliest evidence of it in about the 5th century BC. And it is believed to have been invented, well, it appears in various places around the world independently of each other. There is no evidence to say that these cultures came in contact with each other, and as a result they came up with a little bit different designs. So this is the European foreign one. So this is what was used in Europe. Alright, enjoy your dinner. Japan, they came up with their own patterns. They have all kinds of crazy patterns that often they would use with each other. So, well, this one is just a uniform flat design. You basically just continue this on for the entire shirt or whatever else you're making. Whereas the Japanese, they would have different patterns. They're called weaves that they would use for different purposes. So, I mean, you might have one that is made for like to deflect slashing from a certain angle or something on one part of the body, but then another part of the body might need a little bit different protection, so they would use a different weave and work it in with that first one. So when you're looking at a Japanese shirt as opposed to this, where for a European shirt this is all that it is, the Japanese one, you might see like 4 or 5 different weaves on different parts of the body, all in one shirt, which is pretty crazy. And chainmail was developed in Japan probably about the same time as it was in Europe. We believe that In Europe, it was invented by the Gaulish Celts, which Gaul was like the western portion of mainland Europe, particularly in the French area. And chainmail historically would have been made from whatever crappy scrap iron they may have had laying around. Nobody really knew how they were getting it into like this uniform wire shape that is used to make these rings until in an excavation here recently, I believe it was, they found a metal draw plate that is like a metal plate with various different sized holes in it. So a smith might take a chunk of iron, pound it into roughly like a bar shape, then they would pull it through those holes in that plate, starting with a big plate or with a big hole, moving to a slightly smaller one and a slightly smaller one and a slightly smaller one, until that rough bar of iron would have been drawn down to this fine wire like this. I am using 16 gauge galvanized steel for this right now. Much better quality metal than they would have used back in the day. There's not a lot of evidence for early chainmail because it was such poor quality metal, especially. Over time, it has rusted away, so we really don't have any examples of it older than probably like a couple hundred years ago. So the question is then, how do we know that it started at least by the 5th century BC? And the answer is among several different people, the Celts included, it was a thing to give offerings to the gods, throwing, jewelry, valuables, armor, weapons, and whatnot into a river. Like I said, as an offering. So at one point, they threw in this chainmail shirt. Now, as you probably know, metal and water don't really mix. It causes oxidation or rust, and which eats away at the metal until it crumbles away. But, that chainmail was still whole. It sunk down to the bottom of that stream or lake or whatever it was and imprinted itself in the mud. And after years and years, that actual chainmail disintegrated to nothing. But that impression that it made can still be seen. Then when they dated that layer of mud, they came up with the date around the 5th century. And it was found in a territory from the Latine culture, which is a Celtic time period. And at the time, that area was controlled by the Celts, so that's why we believe that chainmail was invented by the Celts in that time period. Okay, so we've got a pretty sizable patch here. And like I said before, European styles are easy because it's just this all the way through. Just one ring having 4 rings that interlock with it. That's why it's called a 4-in-1. So let's move on from that. Like I said, 99% of chainmail historically used was made using that European 4-in-1 pattern. Now I say 99%, so what is that other percent? Well, chainmail is very, very time consuming. Even doing it now with the rings already made, the wire and everything, it's still a very long, tedious process. So you can imagine how it would have been before all that, when you had to shape the iron into a wire. You had to coil that wire. You had to cut out the individual rings, and then you could start shaping it. It takes a long time. So chainmail was very, very expensive. It's basically like the equivalent of buying a house now, like to tell you just how expensive it was. So, if people were spending that much money on this simple piece of armor, they wanted it to look good. So, smiths started coming up with different fancy designs or weaves that they could use to accent the armor to make it look prettier. This that I'm about to do now is called a half Persian. It is a 3-in-1 weave, so each ring is going to have 3 that interlock with it. And this one, I believe, is a modern weave. Some of them, like the Byzantine weave, which I may do in a different video. I believe the Byzantine was a historical weave, and it would have been used like, you know, you could have like a fringe around the collar of your chainmail. You could have like little dangly bits and stuff. And it just made it look prettier, so if you were already spending the money, you could look good. Okay, so to start, I've got an open ring here. I'm going to take 2 closed rings, put it inside there, and we're going to close that off. Okay, so now we've got this ring here in the middle with these 2 rings interlocked with it. So what we're going to do now, this is one of the trickier ones to get started. We're going to slide these 2 over like this, so we've still got our ring in the middle here, just kind of hanging out. This is called making a cat's eye. As you can see, it kind of looks like a cat's eye there, with the pupil in the middle. So then we're going to take a ring and we're going to loop it through these 2. So we're adding a second ring to that center. Just like that. See how it's going through these 2 outer ones. and it's going to mirror this one in the middle, so we're adding to that row, and then we're going to close it off. Like so. Now this one of the things that's tricky about it, it never wants to lay flat. Okay, so here's our original ring with these two. We just added this one to it. And then we're going to add, oops, let go. Okay, so we're going to add this one. Just like this. So we're building on to this row now. And it's just going to link through that one. So you can see now this ring here passes through this ring, and now this ring. So it has 3 rings interlocking within it. That's why this is a 3-in-1 weave. So then we're just going to close this off. Okay, so now I'm going to show you a little bit of a cheat. You saw we added this ring through these two, closed it off, and then we added this one just hanging out looped through this one that we just added, right? So we can shorten the time by taking an open ring and a closed ring, looping the closed ring through the open ring. Then we're going to take that open ring and we're going to slide it through these two. Then we're going to close it off. So now the result is we end up with the same thing, this one, looped through these 2 rings, with this ring just hanging out on the end here. So by doing this, we can cut out an extra step, which over time will add up to quite a lot. Okay, so we take it, loop it through these 2. And close it off. Something's not looking right. So you can see this doesn't want to lay flat, which tells me that there's a ring out of place. So we'll just back up. There's no real way to fix it except to undo until you get to the problem area, which luckily for us, I noticed it right away. So I only have to take off the one ring. Okay, so we've got a ring like this. Loop it through these 2. And we close it off. Now because this pattern is, like I said, this is a more difficult pattern, and it's very difficult to get started once you get it started, it is relatively easy to just keep adding to it. So what a lot of people will do is they'll keep a tail. So we'll make this into our bracelet here. Then if we wanted to have a tail, we'd make like an inch or two extra and just trim it off and use that as a starter piece for our next project. I usually just start fresh, but a lot of people, especially if they're just starting out, that tail is really helpful. So we took it, looped it through those two, closing it. So now this one is going through those two, and it has this third little hanger on right here. One thing that's important with this weave, you see all of these rings are following a pattern. So this end is over, then it passes under this one, which passes under this one, which goes under this one, so that it all looks uniform and lays flat. And that is the easiest way to mess up this weave. Like say, we will add a ring here. We'll just throw this through here. And we'll close it off. So now it doesn't look right, right? Because you see, well, these ones are all lined up evenly, so this ring goes under this ring, which goes under this ring, which goes under this ring. But then this one just kind of sits on top, so it doesn't have anything that goes over it on the other end. That's a very common mistake, and it's very easy to do. So to rectify that, we're just going to take off this last ring we added. We'll open it back up, slide it out here. So now we're back to normal with our little hanger on here. When I added that other one before, I did it like this. See how that one's just kind of floating on top instead of being even and in a row like the other ones. So to fix that, what we have to do is we have to make sure that this ring here is overlapping on top of this one so that we continue our pattern. So then, when we put our next one through, it's just going to catch these two, if it'll cooperate. This weave is a pretty tight weave, and I am using a rather thick wire for it. It is probably not possible to go any tighter with a heavier gauge wire than what I have going. I like a nice, tight, clean looking weave. It's gonna make a better looking bracelet, I think. I mean, other people have their own aesthetics and all, but look how pretty that looks. See, can you see like a nice bracelet made out of that? And this that we're working with here, this is a 16 gauge stainless steel. So this, you know, you can wear it in the rain, wash your hands, whatever, and as long as that stainless coating is on there, it should not rust. So it makes it good for jewelry, because nobody wants a big rusty lump of metal hanging on their wrist. Sometimes you gotta kind of finagle it a little bit to get it to close tightly. Let's see, we're just adding on one ring at a time, making sure that our little hanger on here goes over the last ring in the pattern. And then we just take our rings, one open, one closed. And we just pass it through. Since this weave is so tight, it is sometimes hard to get it to behave. The other common mistake to do is if you put it through like this, it's easy to catch this ring here by mistake. So we'll just close this off here. And now you can see this is just kind of hanging here like that. Doesn't look very pretty. It ruins the uniformity of our rows there. And that's because we caught this ring here. We're supposed to pass over this ring, but this one went through it instead. So now this one is going through 4 rings instead of the 3 that we want. So now we just take this one out. Pull that out there. We're going to take, we've got our 2 rings here, and we're going to go through these two, without going through this one here from the other row. And we're just going to close that off. So see how nice and even and uniform that is. So then we just keep going. This particular weave's going twice as fast because, like I said, we already prepared these rings. You see I've got one open ring matched with one closed ring all ready to go. So that's going to cut my production time by a lot. Because then I can just grab my pair. I've already got my closed ring linked through my open ring. And we just pass it through those 2 there. Making sure we don't pass through this one. It should be running parallel to that column there. And we've got our little hanger on. And we just pass through here. Close it up. And we've got our hanger on. And as you can see, this thing's growing pretty fast. Between using this speed method and just experience, I started doing chainmail when I was 11. and I am definitely not 11 anymore. So I've been doing this for about 22, 23 years now. So I've got a little bit of experience. We're just kind of making this go a little bit faster. And I've gotten to the point where I can pretty much make a bracelet in about 20 to 30 minutes. And like I said, a weave like this is an ornamental weave. This was never used as armor. It was used as an accent to armor to make it look fancy. A popular thing would be to have like a different, you might use like gold rings or something around the collar of your shirt, or you might give it a fringe using a weave like this, you know, on the wrist, or have little decorative chains that go around the collar, or whatever you want it to do, and it's kind of just pimping out your armor. Because you're paying an arm and a leg for this, you want it to look good. I mean, if you shell out money for a new car, fresh off the line, you know, you want your car to look good. And we're kind of hitting a resurgence in the popularity of chainmail right now, using those ornamental weaves to make jewelry. And as I said before, this particular weave I don't believe is historical. Some of these other weaves we have are historical. They've been used for hundreds of years. This particular one, I believe, is a newer weave. People are still developing new patterns. They're called weaves. People are still developing these new weaves all the time. You know, using different sized rings and interlocking them in different ways to create different patterns and shapes. This one didn't have a closed ring with it. We'll just take that one off. And we'll take this one that is paired up with a closed ring. Otherwise, that would have kind of disrupted our flow there. Now, people ask, like, would they have used different materials when making their chainmail? Like, would you have a bronze chainmail suit, or a gold or silver, some other precious metal suit of armor? And the answer is not really. When that comes into play, like when you're using gold or silver or like a softer metal, if you were to work that in or make up your armor out of that weaker metal, it would not be functional. It might look good, but when you're on the battlefield and you've got a guy charging at you, slashing with his sword, you want the armor to be strong enough that it will deflect that blow. If your armor's made out of gold, it's not going to do that. That sword is going to slice right through the armor and into your flesh. Not exactly ideal. But when you are adding those fancy little customizations to your armor to make it all fancy and whatnot, you might put like some gold trim around the collar and around the edges of the sleeves, or have like gold chains acting like a fringe hanging down. And that is the only time you will see other types of metal in chainmail historically. This ring does not want to close. Sometimes you just got to work it back and forth like that until it closes up nice and tight. Otherwise, you run into popped rings when there's a gap in the ring, and it, say you're wearing your bracelet, it gets hit. If this ring hadn't been closed all the way, it might jump out of one of the other rings, and then it just kind of hangs there. Now that's the most common problem you'll have with chainmail armor or jewelry or anything, is, you know, having something hit it or pull on it or something and a ring popping. Luckily, depending on the weave, it's a relatively easy fix. I did have a guy, he was a nurse at a psychiatric ward, I think it was, and he had a guy having a seizure. He was wearing one of these bracelets, and the patient, as he's flailing about, grabs onto the bracelet, and it caused a ring to pop. He found me at a festival I was showing at, the Columbus Arts Festival, which, if you are in the Ohio area, the Columbus Arts Festival is an amazing show. They bring in people from all over the country, fabulous artists in all different kinds of mediums. I am there usually demoing chainmail. But he saw me in the program for the festival, and he came, found me. You know, he had bought the bracelet from me the year before and told me the story, and I was able to, you know, fix it for him right then and there without too much hassle or fuss. But definitely, if you're in the Ohio area, check out the Columbus Arts Festival. It has been canceled the past 2 years because of COVID, but we are hoping to come back strong next year. You'll see myself and the Mad Tinkerer 13, a very good friend of mine in real life. He also does some awesome crafting videos. Definitely worth giving him a follow if you don't already. He has been huge in getting me set up on Twitch, helping me figure out OBS, getting me connected with CR Game Room. Him probably more than anyone. I would never have reached this point without him, you know, showing me the ropes and taking time to help me figure stuff out and answering questions and doing this and that. Unfortunately, he is not in chat, so I can't give him a shout out. But he is the mad underscore tinkerer underscore 13. Like I said, he's been a great friend to me for a number of years now. He's the one who got me involved at the arts festival, which the exposure from that has been huge for, my business, selling, making and selling chainmail. And it's been great to be able to give back to the community. I grew up going to the arts festival. It was always a highlight of my year. So to be involved in it now, I'm on the planning committee for it. So being able to, volunteer and give my time to help keep this festival going and to expose a new generation of young people to the arts has been just absolutely phenomenal. I mean, I never would have imagined when I was younger going to the festival that one day I would be a part of it. And that was all thanks to the Mad Tinkerer. Okay, so this is getting pretty long here. I'm not going to do the whole bracelet. This is a long time consuming process here. Goes a little quicker when I'm not trying to talk and interact. So I'm not going to make you sit through the entire thing, but I am going to show you how we would finish off this bracelet. Okay, so we'll take this other end here. See how it makes kind of this nice little X right there? We're just going to take an open ring. We're going to pass it through both of those rings in the X. See it there? We've got our X. This ring is going to pass right through both of those. And we're going to close it off. So now we just have this one, just kind of stands straight up there. Then we're going to take another open ring. We're just going to pass it through that one. Now we have one of two options. We decide which end this is going to be. Is this going to be the end with the clasp, or is this going to be the end that, gets latched onto? So if we were putting a clasp on it, we would just slide our clasp onto this open ring here at this point and then close it off. I don't have a clasp here next to me, so we're going to make this the tail. Now, I like to leave a little bit of a simple chain as a tail to make it more adjustable. So we're just going to pass a couple rings, one through the other. Just like that. And we'll add one more. See, it's just one ring through another. to give it just a little bit of a tail. So then, when we put our clasp on, we can clasp onto this one for a tight fit. If your wrist isn't that small, because that's pretty small. My wrist is definitely not that small. So I would be able to, say my clasp is right here, I would be able to latch on to this final ring here, and that would fit pretty good. So it makes it a little more adjustable. Normally, when I'm making these, when I'm at like a festival or something, I will make them to order. I will measure your wrist and make the chain to that specific length so it fits you just right. But when I'm selling online, I can't necessarily do that. So I like to leave that little tail to give you a little bit more options so that it can fit you just how you want without being able to actually measure your wrist. Okay, so that's all there is to, like I said, this is a half Persian. So that's all there is to the half Persian weave here. And it's just going to sit on your wrist like that. Looks very pretty. This is kind of my flagship weave. This is my bread and butter. This is what I do for most of the jewelry I'm making. If someone requests a different weave or they want a little bit different looking bracelet, I can do that. But most of the time, this is what I use. So this is when, if you see me at a festival or something, I'll have a bunch of bracelets like this sitting out on the table. I will be finishing this last little bit of this off stream. Yeah, I'll be finishing it off stream. Basically, I just need to add a clasp to the end of it. So it'll come out looking like this. See, I've got the clasp on there at the end. So then it can latch on to this little bit of a tail there. This particular one, this one's made out of titanium. You can see it's got a little bit of a dollar color to it. It's very matte finish. This thing weighs practically nothing at all. Titanium is such a strong, lightweight material. It makes great jewelry and is hypoallergenic, so I like to use this, especially when I'm making earrings. I'll use this because it's light, so it doesn't pool on your ears, and is hypoallergenic. So if you're sensitive to metals, it won't cause you to break out or turn your skin colors or anything. And so chainmail, I guess I can work on it a little bit more as I talk. Chainmail's been around since about the 5th century BC, and it kind of died out with the advent of firearms. Because this works great to stop you being slashed in half by a sword, but a bullet is going to just fly right through this. So it died out. It's heavy, and if it's not going to stop a bullet, then why bother with it? In Japan, they continued this on until World War I. During World War I, the Japanese were still experimenting with having soldiers wearing chainmail to try to give them a little bit of protection from bullets. It did not work very well, so that was discontinued. But we do still see chainmail in use today as it was originally intended, as protection. Can you guess how it is used? What uses would we have for chainmail armor today? So there's a couple of different answers to this. One, butchers use it. You might see a butcher wearing a chainmail glove so they don't accidentally slice their hand when they're chopping meat with a big cleaver like that. And then the other popular use for it nowadays is for diving. Divers will use a chainmail suit made up of titanium. Like I said, extremely lightweight, but extremely strong. And they will wear these suits of titanium chainmail as shark-resistant suits. With the idea being that if a shark decides to chomp down on your arm, you're wearing this chainmail suit, it will stop the teeth. They may penetrate your skin a little bit, but it will stop it from being able to bite your arm off. Well, being lightweight and flexible so it doesn't weigh you down. Okay, so I think I did a little bit too much. This bracelet is now massive. As you can see, it comes around my wrist, fits nicely. If this were someone with a larger wrist, you know, they still have all this extra chain here in the tail to be able to adjust it. Well, for me, I would want it to fit like that, and it would be nice and snug there. There's still plenty of room for give. And this bracelet here that we just made, we are going to give it away at the end of the stream. So if you haven't already, go ahead and type in !enter, and that will get you your free entry into the giveaway for this bracelet at the end of the show, or at the end of the stream, or whatever. It's nice, pretty bracelets going away to a new home today. Nice, pretty, shiny stainless steel. So if you want to take this baby home, just type in !enter to get you entered in to win. Okay. So yeah, that was that. We went through. We made some European 4-in-1, which is what the armor the knights would have worn. And we made a decorative half Persian bracelet. Okay, so next we're going to do a little bit of gaming. Imagine that. Gaming on Twitch. Let me get it brought up here. We're going to be playing the very first game I streamed on here, Baldur's Gate 3, which coincidentally uses chainmail. See how I cleverly tied that in there? Okay, let's get this up here. If it'll cooperate. Okay. Let's see if we can't get this a little more centered here. It's a little too big. There. That looks good. That's a little bit better there. Now I just gotta get my window to cooperate. Okay, there we go. And like I said before, we are giving away that bracelet at the end of the show. Just type in exclamation points, enter, for your chance to win. Just a second here. Okay. Okay, and if we have people showing up late here who are interested in seeing the chainmail stuff we had made earlier, if we get a bunch of people in here, I can go back and show some of the ins and outs of it real quick. For now, we're just going to play our game. And if you are just joining us, we are doing a giveaway here. Earlier, I had made a chainmail bracelet on stream, which I will be giving away at the end of the night. So if you haven't already, go ahead and type in !enter for your free entry. And if you want to have a higher chance, you can use your stream points to buy more entries. You can get up to 10. They cost 20 points each. So if you don't have quite that amount yet, there's still plenty of time. You'll be getting points as we go just from watching. So we were in the spider cave, and we found a ladder that took us up into a blacksmith shop. So now we are rooting around. Oh, hey. Looks like I got a short sword and a dagger here. We're rooting around, going through people's stuff, trying to get the camera to work. Let's see. Yeah, okay. So I had 2 pieces of a broken spear that I found earlier, and I used the forge to